Hi everyone, so today I'll be doing a review on the vanilla pound cake candle in the 24-ounce pantry style jar by the company Swan Creek Candle Co. I purchased my candle online through capecandle.com, which carries the brand Swan Creek. I believe that the regular price is around $26, but there's usually a sale going on, so I think I got this closer to around $20 or so. You can also purchase it through their official online website. The prices do vary, and some people have reported seeing Swan Creek Candle at some retail shops, more specifically a store called Bass Pro Shops, if you're familiar with it. But anyways, these are 100% soy wax candles made in the USA. I might have included some B-roll, but the wax is colored. This one has a very light creamy yellow color. And on top, there are some like divot holes and stuff, which is typical for soy wax. And what Swan Creek does in a lot of their candles is they put matching soy wax pebbles almost to add like a little kind of faux confetti to it, or like a confetti look to it. So the burn time of these 24-ounce pantry style jars is 110 plus hours, and that is definitely true. This is a very long-lasting candle, slower burn. Anyways, so the fragrance description online reads, authentic, captivating aroma of a baked vanilla pound cake makes this irresistible scent a bestseller. A pure pound cake with rich vanilla and soft baked tone will have you running to the oven. Okay, so to briefly talk about the packaging, I feel like this style of candle is very dated because I do like that it uses a reusable container. Mason jars do come in handy. You can store spices like flour, rice, and whatnot. So that I like about it. Also, the label is easy to peel, so it makes reusing and cleaning this jar a lot easier. However, the word map kind of design in the front, it's very busy and it doesn't really add much to the look of the candle. I mean, I do enjoy that it has descriptive words. I have seen though for some other candles, it's not 100% accurate just because there's like a lot of different words. But for this one, I do agree that this is a gourmand fragrance. I believe it has other words like sweet, baked, so on and so forth. I also talked about this before, but I like that you are able to see through the candle jar. It's a clear vessel and it really showcases the color of the wax. This one, it's more of your typical kind of like a yellow tinged cream color. So you're able to see if there are any issues or if you accidentally left your candle on. But to talk about the scent itself, I purchased this in the candle and the wax melts, and they're pretty much the same. And it's this very intense, buttery vanilla. And if I had to guess, I think that this leans more of French vanilla instead of just your average vanilla bean candle. The cake aspect isn't too apparent, but it's very sweet at the same time. So when you think butter, I feel like at times, at least when I was warming my wax melts in my hotter tea light warmers, I almost got this like very heavy emphasis on the butter. So it leaned a little bit popcorn-esque. But I think that's just because the sweetness kind of took a back seat versus when I am burning this, I feel like the butter and the sugar mix really well together. This doesn't smell like those vanillas that sometimes lean body care to me. I feel like this candle is 100% edible. This isn't one of those instances where a candle is marketed as a gourmand and then you end up smelling some inedible notes to it like a musk or an amber. That's definitely not the case. But okay, let me show you. Well, first, let me talk about the burn of this candle. I have been burning this for, I believe, over a year and a half. So I burned the first half of it some time ago, closer to the cooler weather months. So I did have the AC going on. And let me tell you, before I didn't have as many candle accessories, specifically candle hurricanes, which you see the candle right now in a hurricane. And that is because this candle only has one wick, and I think that's the biggest issue, is that because there's only one wick and the diameter of the opening is so small, that I feel like the strength and throw are really hindered by that. I would love to see this candle in a like 2-wick format, 3-wick format, just bigger, like so shorter and wider. So you have more, I guess, diameter space for there to be an even wax pull. One, it would cut down on your the time it takes for you to reach an even wax pull, and two, you'd have more surface area, so hopefully the candle will throw better. Overall, I would categorize this as a pretty low throwing candle. I do notice it once I walk closer to the candle, I would say within about 8 feet or so, but it really struggles to fill up my medium-sized bedroom, and it doesn't really project. I find that soy wax melts, 100% soy wax melts, don't really work in my environment, in my warmers, with my like room temperature and stuff. But I think I've gotten better performance in the wax melts. Granted, I feel like I like the scent more in the candle. So overall, low strength, low projection, and this takes a really long time to reach an even wax pull. So this is definitely not one of those candles that you want to burn for about like 30 minutes, or like you're rushing to get out the door, but you say, oh, I have like maybe like 45 minutes, I can burn this candle. No, this needs a good few hours to reach an even wax pull specifically, or even more so if you don't have a tin foil, candle topper, hurricane, whatever accessory that you use to try to kind of help this along. And for me, when I don't have this candle, especially last year, because again, I didn't really have candle hurricanes back then, it took about maybe 3.5 hours or 4 hours to reach an even wax pull. So afterwards, I did try to tin foil this. I even got a specific candle topper to help it along. Another thing about this is because this is such a slow burn that the wick, I don't know if it's the wick itself, or the amount of time that you have this candle burning, but this candle does form quite a bit of a significant mushroom top. And I don't really like that, because what tends to happen with a mushroom top that's gone a little bit haywire is that the little black bits fall into the wax pool, and then you have to kind of fish them out. I have been kind of doing that trick of burning it, and when you see that the wick is a little bit frayed or whatnot, you extinguish the flame, do like a mid-burn trim, and then relight it. Because otherwise, I feel like my wax pool would have been a lot dirtier at this point. I do like, though, that the wax isn't discolored or anything. But yeah, this candle does form mushroom tops. And oddly enough, this is my first Swan Creek candle that I've noticed, I would say, medium or so sooting around the rim of the candle. And I noticed this even last year when I had this going without a hurricane. And I thought, oh no, what's going on? Is there a draft? And I don't know exactly why this candle in particular is sooting, but yeah, I also don't really like that. I mean, I haven't seen any visible instances of sooting this year, but that's because I feel like I'm trimming the wick a little bit more aggressively so it doesn't create that frayed mushroom top. Let me go ahead and give you a closer view of how it looks like from an overhead view. Actually, before I give you an overhead view of the candle, I just kind of want to focus and highlight on the rim of the jar itself. So if you can see right here, it is a bit blackened up a bit because of the soot that has been trapped in this kind of like little lip part right here where the screw-on lid would be. So yeah, this I have noticed since the beginning. So this isn't one of those instances where the candle jar is very tall and then towards the end it kind of acts like a hurricane and causes the soot to get trapped at the top. No, this happened like well around right here, which is again a bit odd, but I've been trying to mitigate it by putting it in a candle hurricane, again, aluminum foil, candle topper. But yeah, I just wanted to give you a quick close-up of how the soot looks like when it's accumulated around the top. All right, so here is an overhead view of the candle. If you can see, my wax pool is pretty clean. It's not discolored even after the wax resolidifies. And I think the main reason is because I'm trimming my wick a bit more. I don't know if maybe I left it a little bit too long and that's why it started sooting, or maybe this is just a sooty candle overall. But yeah, my wax pool is pretty clean. Again, I've been doing like mid-burn trims in order to prevent that. If you can tell right now, currently I've had this burning for about 2 hours in my Hurricane, and I still have not gotten an even wax pool. I took off the Hurricane obviously to show you an overhead view, but if you can see, especially like along the edges of the candle, the wax pool hasn't reached all the way at the end. So right now I have a pretty tiny wax pool. I'll go ahead and show you that in a little bit. But yeah, overall, this is a very slow burn. Again, I enjoy the scent. I just wish it was a lot stronger, honestly. And I think that just might be because of my like strength and throw preferences. But overall, I would still classify this as a pretty weak candle overall. I do enjoy the scent, and I feel like the scent slightly does change when you go to burn it. I really enjoy that the sweetness that is in the vanilla really balances out, I guess, the richness and a borderline how sometimes butter can lean a bit savory. That's definitely not the case here. I think it just makes this more decadent and like a rich dessert. Borderline, you can only have one slice of this vanilla pound cake. And I enjoy that the cake aspect doesn't smell like it's overcooked. It doesn't lean like too carb heavy or, you know, bready almost. So I really like that this smells very sweet, very rich, and very vanilla forward if you enjoy vanilla fragrances. So here is another view of my candle. Let me go ahead and do a little 360. So if you can see right there, I have the tiniest wax pool. And again, it's not extended all the way around. So even after 2 hours in a Hurricane, this is still not fully liquefied. So very slow burn. So this is good if you enjoy potentially lighter fragrances, if you like to have one candle burning and you feel like you get a lot of bang for your buck. I personally wouldn't repurchase this candle or the fragrance because I feel like it's maybe just a one and done. It's very nice, but yeah, I think it's just like a one and done fragrance. And even in the wax melts, I feel like it doesn't perform either. Again, it could just be my home or my melters or my space. But yeah, this is a pretty big commitment because to have a candle that you can't really smell for 100, like what was it, 110 plus hours? Yeah, that's a really long time. So unfortunately, despite the fact that I really enjoy the scent on cold, and when I'm very, very close to it, I feel like this scent is almost, I feel like I almost forget it's on at times. Maybe if I leave the room and re-enter and walk very close to the candle, I can notice it. But I would be open to trying this scent again, perhaps if Swan Creek ever came out with 3 wicks, because I feel like more wicks, more surface area would help the strength and the throw. But yeah, that has been my experience. Let me know if you think that maybe I got a dud vanilla pound cake, because again, this is the first time that I've had this much sooting. I wouldn't say it's an extreme amount of sooting, but it's definitely noticeable that the top part of the candle jar is a little bit blacked right now, or blackened right now. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, and I hope you have a great day. Okay, bye.